So, Kev, let me get your thoughts on where it went wrong for Phoenix, not only in this game, but in this series as a whole.
Hey man, I got two words for you. Kendall Jenner. I don't
Oh,
want to hear.
you're gonna be you're gonna be petty, aren't you?
I'm bro. I don't want to hear it. The second they went up, I believe whether it was after game one or game two, she publicly put it on the internet and said, if he wins, referencing Devin Booker, that's her boyfriend, that's her dating person, whatever, situational relationship, I don't give a shit. If you win the NBA Finals, I'm gonna give you a baby. If that's not a curse in and of itself, I don't know what is, because everybody knows every single athlete the Kardashians have touched, their careers have plummeted. And I mean plummeted. We're talking Chris Humphries was up and coming in New Jersey when they were in the New Jersey Nets. We're talking about Reggie Bush, talking about Miles Austin. I mean, Ben Simmons, for God's sakes, Blake Griffin, like every single person these women have touched in their lives, the men that they've destroyed, whether mentally or physically, I don't know, have just been abysmal. And the Suns were up 2-0, and then the comment was made, and then the Suns lose four in a row. In that period, Devin scored 40 twice, yes, but he also had two bad games in that as well, including tonight going 8 of 22 from the field. He could not get it going. 0 of 7 from the 3-point line. If I'm looking at it realistically, I'm just goofing, guys. I know that that's not a real thing. I'm gonna say defensively, man. From games 3 on, they could not guard, and whether or not it was being able to guard Giannis, which is pretty much an impossible task for most teams, but dude, there were certain plays. I mean, like, I know you know the play I'm talking about in the third quarter where Giannis gets the ball at the top of the key and they're worried about their getting in their zone position. And Giannis gets a free lane to the basket and kind of reverse layups around DeAndre Ayton with a full
Yep.
head of steam. Like, there's you can't do that in the finals. The man is already hot. You're going to give him a free layup? Like, the Suns just did not seem to have any defensive urgency whatsoever, and their inability to score the basketball as a unit, man. This is the first time they've been held under 100 points, and as in terms of the finals, and 24% from the 3-point line, absolutely disgusting. 44% from the field. Their star players outside of Chris Paul, or should I say their best players outside of Chris Paul, just could not perform. Like I said, Devin Booker had a bad night. DeAndre Ayton, 4 of 12. Jay Crowder, 4 of 11, and so on and so on and so on. Cameron Johnson off the bench. Unfortunately, one UNC member got a championship, the other one didn't, but he was 1 of 5. So when you're putting up shots at that volume and you're not knocking anything down to get a momentum, to kind of get a rhythm going, like I said earlier, it's damn near impossible. And, as a unit, it just did not seem like the Suns had enough in the tank to kind of will themselves to win. And who knows if maybe Devin hits a few shots, this game might go another way. But the turnover aspect doesn't help either. Devin had 6 turnovers and Chris had 3. So point guard or not, it did not seem like it was going for him. Chris did everything he could. He had 26 points. He had 5 assists. He also had 5 fouls. Shit, I didn't even realize that. But you can't say it was Chris's fault. You can't say he didn't do his job in the finals. I believe he had maybe one bad game where he didn't really do very well.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I think he performed incredible for not only his age, but in the position he was put in, being one of the only veterans on this team that has playoff experience outside of Jay Crowder. And I don't know if Phoenix is going to be back. There are a lot of moving pieces out here. You got to re-sign DeAndre Ayton to a long-term deal. Devin Booker's going to want another extension. Chris Paul, obviously, is probably going to opt out and want a new deal. And there are people on this bench that we don't know if they're going to come back. Cameron Payne, is that going to be a one-year floozy? Jay Crowder, I believe he signed a 2 or 3 year deal. Did they package him and trade for somebody else this offseason? Mikal Bridges is also going to be up for a contract extension as well. So Phoenix has got their hands full. James Jones and those boys in the front office got to figure out what it is they're going to do, if they're going to keep this nucleus of players together and see if they can make another run at it. But if I'm being honest, I think this really was the shot to do it. And they kind of dropped the ball, man. To lose 4 in a row in the NBA Finals after going up 2-0 is Dallas-esque. And that pains me to say that after we went up 2-0 against the Miami Heat in 2006, and then we just lost 4-0 it's a painful feeling to know you were 2 wins away from a championship and you were not able to scrimmage up one after that. So, kudos to the Suns for the run that they went on, for the improbable historical run that they did this season. And, we'll end up seeing what happens next year. But it's unfortunate for them to fall short.
Yeah, I think the one thing that Phoenix really struggled with altogether was them dealing with Milwaukee's length, especially with Giannis and Brook Lopez. The one thing that we had mentioned just a couple days ago was the fact that Phoenix was struggling to rebound the ball as well as Milwaukee was. And tonight proved no different. I mean, I'm going to pull up the box score just so that you guys can see. Milwaukee had 53 rebounds as a team. Phoenix had 37. I mean, they got crushed on the boards once again. This had been a consistent theme throughout the entirety of the series. This is not just a one game one off. This had been happening multiple times throughout the series. And it really kind of goes to show that but outside of DeAndre Ayton, Phoenix didn't have anybody that they could really rely upon to get favorable matchups against Giannis and Brook Lopez. It's just when you have two guys who are either 7 feet or very close to 7 feet, and really all you have is DeAndre Ayton, and DeAndre Ayton's not even 7 feet. I think DeAndre Ayton's only like 6'10".
6'11" or something.
Yeah, so and I really kind of think back to when Dario Saric got hurt in game one. It really kind of threw Phoenix in a bind. It really made them thin at that 5 spot just because it left Frank Kaminsky in a situation where he had to step up. And I mean, he actually played not too bad tonight. He actually had, I would say, a serviceable game tonight. Up until this point, he really didn't play that much, but at least it was a body to kind of check Giannis and Brook Lopez at a certain point in the game. But by and large, I just didn't think that Chris Paul stepped up to the way that I thought he should have. I thought he had some overall good performances here and there, but the one thing that really kind of stood out to me about Chris Paul is his turnovers. He had some really bad turnovers, not just in one game, but throughout the entirety of the series for the most part. And when I look at Devin Booker had what I would consider a really good series altogether. But in game 6, this is, you have to force a game 7 if you're Phoenix. And Devin just did not play well tonight. He couldn't get into an offensive rhythm whatsoever. It's like you mentioned, 8 of 22 from the field. This was probably his worst game outside of game 3 when Phoenix got run off the court. And I think Devin Booker only scored like 10 or 11 points in that game. So, yeah, I really want to focus though on just the rebounding portion of Phoenix here, just because I just think that by and large they just couldn't contend with Milwaukee's length. And I think Milwaukee made a very good adjustment to make sure that they were feeding Giannis and that they kept Brook Lopez in a decent rotation, because Brook Lopez throughout this series, even though they didn't put up like a 20, 25 point performance, he was consistently getting 10 to 15 points. And Phoenix had to respect that. So it did open up some lanes for Giannis to exploit. And Giannis was just consistent the entire time. And Phoenix really didn't have anybody to check him outside of DeAndre Ayton. I mean, there were times where Giannis was getting guarded by Jay Crowder and Mikal Bridges. That's a walk in the park for Giannis when it comes to a one-on-one matchup. And, I thought Phoenix was going to make better adjustments tonight because Giannis had a really good game 5, and then he follows it up with a 50-point piece in a closeout game. So, I just look at the matchups that Milwaukee had. They had the advantage at the 4 and 5 spot, and they exploited it. And good on Mike Budenholzer for seeing that weakness in Phoenix's roster and exploiting it to the best of their abilities. And they executed with flying colors in that regard. So, all in all, though, I thought Phoenix had a fantastic year. Obviously, it's a major disappointment that they didn't win the finals. And it really does sting to know that they were 2 games away after taking a 2-0 series lead to start the finals. So they're going to have to do some soul searching. They're going to have to kind of come together as a group. And look, they have Monty Williams as their head coach. That guy is one of the best coaches in the league. He's one of the best role models that you could have as far as an NBA coach goes, and I definitely expect Monty Williams to ensure that these guys stick together as they transition through this pretty difficult time. I imagine they'll take some time off, reassess some things, and then try to get back to it for next season. But it's unfortunate that the season had to come to an end for Phoenix in this way.